You've been told to be obvious, to text quickly, to reassure her, to make your interest unmistakable like a neon sign buzzing in a quiet night. But here's the truth that flips the game. Desire doesn't bloom under fluorescent honesty. It blooms in the dark edges of curiosity. The more you chase certainty, the more you smother mystery. And mystery is oxygen to attraction. I'm not here to teach you games. I'm here to hand you a lens that changes how you move so profoundly that a woman feels your presence before you enter the room and continues feeling it long after you leave. What you're about to learn is the art of becoming the man she can't stop thinking about, not by drowning her in attention, but by offering her something rarer: freedom, earned intimacy, and the gravity of a life she wants to orbit. If what you're hearing is already bending your assumptions, stay with me until the end, because this is where obsession begins, where your silence speaks, your standards seduce, and your restraint makes her lean forward. Reverse psychology is not trickery. It's alignment with human nature. People protect their freedom. They move toward what acknowledges their autonomy and away from what tries to control them. When you push, she resists. When you release, she chooses. That choice is everything. Attraction deepens the moment she realizes you are not a salesman pitching access to you. You are the prize calibrating access to your world. The first shift is internal. You stop auditioning. You start qualifying. Not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Your attention becomes a currency you invest with discernment. Do that, and the frame flips. You become the reference point. She compares other men to you, not you to other men. Start here. Your life is the foundation. Obsession grows around gravity. Gravity is purpose, rhythm, standards. If your day collapses for any woman, you telegraph that you're available at wholesale. Scarcity isn't pretending to be busy. It's guarding what makes you valuable. Build rituals that anchor you, training that keeps your body alive, work that stretches your mind, a creative pursuit that reminds you of who you were before you wanted her. When your life pulls you forward, you don't need to pretend indifference. It's real. And that's the only kind that registers. She will test your gravitational pull by inviting you to abandon yourself for her attention. When you don't, not out of coldness, but out of loyalty to your mission, she feels relief and arousal mixed together. Relief because you won't drown in her, arousal because your center is stable. Now we talk about communication. Most men think words convince. In reality, pacing convinces. Absence convinces. The pause convinces. Reverse psychology lives inside those micro moments where you allow her space to move toward you. You say, "No pressure. If you're free Wednesday, cool. If not, no worries. We'll catch another time." That line holds oxygen. It gives her freedom to opt in. She feels you're not assigning her a role. You're inviting her into a moment. And if she declines, you don't double down with proof of value. You shift your attention back to your life. The message received is, "I'm good either way." That signals abundance without bragging. It tells her there's a line outside the door, and you're not the bouncer. You're the owner, calm, selective, and unhurried. Understand the mechanics of curiosity. Curiosity is a gap between what she knows and what she senses. You don't fill that gap with monologues about yourself. You create it with precise reveals. When she asks what you do, give a clean answer, then pivot to her world with genuine curiosity. But hold something back. No resume dump, no TED Talk about your ambitions. Think of your presence like a well-lit path with the last stretch hidden by trees. She sees enough to feel safe, not enough to feel certain. That tension pulls her forward. When she asks about your weekend, don't itemize. Offer a single vivid image. "I disappeared into the mountains for a few hours, switched my phone off, and came back with the best idea I've had in months." She'll ask about the idea. You smile. "Too early to say. Ask me after Wednesday." You're not being evasive. You're creating a rhythm of reveal and reserve. That rhythm is addictive. Touch is another art where reverse psychology breathes. The touch that creates obsession is never grasping. It's calibrating. It appears where safety exists and retreats before assumption sets in. On a date, your touch is anchored by consent and clarity. You read her body. Relaxed shoulders, sustained eye contact, the way she leans in during a story. You might guide her with your palm across the small of her back as you move through a doorway. Light, confident, then gone. You create an imprint, not a grip. She remembers the warmth after it's gone, the way a good fragrance stays in the air long after the wearer passes. Don't mistake this for playing hard to get. It's playing true to value. You are a man who never takes. You invite. Invitations are more magnetic than demands. Social presence matters, not the shout of status, but the hum of influence. Women feel your social proof when your life contains people who respect you and communities that welcome you. This doesn't mean flaunting photos with strangers. It means being known where you stand, whether that's your gym, your creative scene, your business world. When she experiences you being casually respected, she understands what it means to have your attention. You didn't fabricate the perception, you earned it. Reverse psychology works strongest when reality backs it. The subtext becomes, I'm not trying to convince you because my life already does. Let's talk about standards. Standards are the spine of obsession. Men often think standards push women away. The opposite is true when delivered with warmth. You don't punish, you simply don't participate where respect is absent. If she cancels last minute without consideration, you don't retaliate with silence born of anger. You calmly reschedule at your convenience if the apology is sincere, or you step back if it's not. Your message is simple. I don't chase chaos. That's reverse psychology. She expects neediness. She gets composure. She will test again because testing is part of attraction. Each time, you respond with steady calm. Over time, she realizes her best self shows up around you. That realization is the seed of obsession. The knowing that being with you raises her standard for herself. Texting. It's where most men leak value. Reverse psychology in texting is about pacing and windows. A message received isn't a command to respond immediately. You're not playing games, you're living. If you're in the middle of something meaningful, you finish it. Your reply is clean and forward. I'm free Thursday 7 or Sunday 4. Pick one and I'll plan something low-key. Choices signal freedom. Deadlines signal decisiveness. If she's vague, maybe this weekend? You don't trap yourself in indefinite pursuit. You set a frame. Cool. Lock it when you know. If I don't hear by tomorrow, I'll make other plans. You're not threatening, you're respecting time. The psychology behind this is simple. Loss aversion. People move when they sense a window closing. You didn't slam it, you simply showed it has hinges. Dates that create obsession aren't about cost, they're about contrast. Reverse psychology and experience design means you construct moments that activate senses and agency. Start with motion. Walking through a night market, a quiet art gallery, a hidden cafe. Movement loosens nerves. Then introduce choice in small doses. 2 options, rustic wine bar or rooftop tea. Your call. She chooses. She invests. Investment deepens attachment. Keep your phone out of sight like it doesn't exist. Ask questions that slice through autopilot. What do you do? Produces scripts. What are you building that scares you a little? Produces truth. Listen like you're reading a map to hidden treasure. When she shares, mirror not with approval, but with understanding. So you love risk and creativity, but not in relationships. You want stability around the chaos. She feels seen, not judged. Being seen is addictive. Lean into edges. If she tests with a playful jab, you just say that to all the girls, you don't defend. Agree and amplify lightly, only to the ones who can keep up. Smile. Change topic. You've turned a frame that could lower your value into a moment that raises it. Reverse psychology trusts attraction to breathe. You don't force it to prove itself on every line. You assume interest, not entitlement. Entitlement kills magnetism. Assumed interest relaxes you, and your ease becomes contagious. Calibrate your reveals. Men overshare early, mistaking vulnerability for emotional vomiting. Real vulnerability is selective. It's the calm disclosure of a personal truth that explains a visible behavior. I'm protective of my mornings because when I'm scattered early, I pay for it all day. That's a boundary wrapped in honesty. She'll understand your 11 a.m. text window now. She'll feel the man who knows his operating system. Obsession grows where a woman can predict both your consistency and your depth. You're reliable in your values, surprising in your perspectives. That combination is rare. Now, the core principle: freedom. Freedom is the nuclear trigger of reverse psychology. Give her psychological oxygen and she'll choose you. Try to control her and she'll run, whether today or in 6 months. So you say, with actions more than words, I want you here. I don't need you here. It's not cold, it's secure. It communicates self-sufficiency and desire without dependency. Practical example. She goes quiet for a day. No frenzy. You continue living. The next day, she pings. You reply without bitterness. Good to hear from you. I'm heading out shortly. What's your week look like? Notice the absence of accusation. Accusation is a plea disguised as anger. Secure men don't plead. They invite, then proceed. There will be moments where a woman attempts to push you into a performance of your devotion. If you really liked me, you'd drop what you're doing. You won't. Not because you don't like her, but because you honor your mission. You say, I like you enough to keep my promises to myself. I'll text you after. She might bristle. She might admire. Either way, you trained her to meet you with respect. Reverse psychology here is evolutionary. We're wired to value what requires our best to access. When you require her best, not perfect, just respectful, you become the man who calibrates her behavior upward. That is addictive. Your body language sells the entire philosophy without you speaking. Upright chest without puffing, shoulders relaxed, movements unhurried. When she speaks, you hold eye contact, then break it on your time. Not as a stare down, but as ease. You don't crowd space. You claim it. When she tests boundaries with a provocative comment, your eyes smile before your lips do. That 2-second delay is a pattern interrupt. Reverse psychology in microform. It says, I choose my responses. People obsess over what they can't predict. Give her a steady core and an unpredictable surface, and she will lean in to decode you. Be unpredictable in tasteful ways. Keep elements of your lifestyle off social media. Show glimpses, not the whole film. Plan dates in sequences she hasn't seen. A bookstore and espresso shot walking to a jazz rehearsal. A farmer's market challenge where you each pick an ingredient and later you cook together. Only if trust and consent are strong. Risk of the unknown bonds people. Reverse psychology says, provide safety in your frame, novelty in your choices. Never the other way around. Never shocks that violate trust. The man who makes her feel safe to be spontaneous becomes the man she craves when life feels sterile. Let's address jealousy. Reckless men manufacture it. High-value men let it arise naturally from abundance without exploitation. You don't flirt with her friend to trigger anxiety. You live a life where other women are around, where friends, women and men, value you, where you're socially alive. If she feels a twinge, your steadiness converts it into admiration rather than fear. You say nothing about options. You don't need to. The environment whispers it for you. Reverse psychology in jealousy is restraint. You never weaponize it. You simply don't hide that other people like being near you. That's enough. Controlling your reactions is non-negotiable. She will throw you off rhythm at times. Late replies, cryptic comments, sudden coldness. The average man spirals. You steady. Ask clarifying questions or step back. Seems like something shifted. Happy to give you space. Ping me when you're centered. That line is pure oxygen. You didn't pander to the storm. You didn't fight it. You forecasted clear skies on the other side and invited her to meet you there. That's reverse psychology at its elegant best, detachment without dismissal. It tells her, you can't punish me with distance. I live there peacefully. When you end a date, end it early more often than late. Leave her wanting more. If the energy is high at 10:30, don't drag it to midnight because you're intoxicated by the connection. Walk her to her car or her ride, hold her eyes for a breath and say, I'm glad we did this. Text me when you get home safe. The next day, you don't gush. You signal continuity. Last night was easy. Next time I'm taking you somewhere with terrible lighting and perfect music. She feels the next chapter already writing itself. That forward motion without cling is a hook she will notice when she compares you to others who linger too long. Your language should carry a specific music, direct, warm, and edged. I don't do drama. I choose peace and heat, not chaos. I'm not here to waste either of our time. Short lines with spine. Sprinkle them unannounced. Let them define your reputation. People obsess over the man whose boundaries are clear because clarity is safety and safety is sexy. When a woman trusts your no, your yes becomes thrilling. That's reverse psychology buried beneath ethics. The more credible your refusal, the more valuable your acceptance. Lean into earned vulnerability when the moment asks for it. Share a scar with composure, not as a plea for validation, but as context for your discipline. I used to overextend to be liked. It cost me my edge. Never again. You just explained your standards. She sees the man who was forged, not fabricated. Stories that explain your discipline make your boundaries feel human, not rigid. They also make her wonder what it would feel like to be the woman you choose to relax around. That curiosity is potent. If what I'm saying is landing in your chest and not just your head, drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. The men who win at this don't passively consume. They interact, they experiment, they calibrate. Which brings me to calibration. Reverse psychology fails when you force it. You cannot copy and paste lines into humans. You read her responses. If she responds with warmth, you mirror warmth. If she is hesitant, you slow down. Your pace is the leadership. Leadership is the quiet confidence that says, I've got this and I've got you if you want to be here. Remember, no woman owes you interest. Attraction is earned or it isn't. Your job is to be a clear signal in a cloudy world. Consider the role of silence. Silence is a canvas. Speak in paragraphs, then let a beat hang. People fill space with their deepest truths. If she confesses an insecurity, you don't fix it. You witness it. Thanks for telling me. I like honest. That line is a bridge. She will cross it again. Obsession grows where a woman feels safe being unpolished. Most men either pedestalize or criticize. You normalize. That's the reverse move. Your steadiness converts intensity into intimacy. When conflict appears, and it will, reject the cycle of escalating temperature. You're the thermostat, not the thermometer. If she raises her voice, you lower yours. If she pushes for immediate resolution, you introduce time. Let's take a breath and talk at 8. I want to be clear, not reactive. That is discipline wrapped in care. She will resent it in the moment and thank you later. You're training the dynamic toward maturity. The paradox is irresistible. The man who refuses emotional chaos becomes the man she trusts with her wildest emotions. Let's sharpen tactics you can use this week. When you invite her out, give a choice set and a window. Wine at 7 or late coffee at 9? If neither, we'll aim for next week. If she delays confirming, you nudge once, then let it go. You plan your life as if she's not the axis. If she circles back after your window closes, you respond with warmth and structure. Just saw this. My week filled up. How's Tuesday 8? You're not punishing, you're signaling reality. Your time moves. On the date, lightly disagree where you honestly do. I get why you feel that way. I see it differently. Then explain with intelligence. Agreement is comfortable, thoughtful dissent is sexy. It proves you won't dissolve to please her. Reverse psychology at the intellectual level is this. Give her something to push against that doesn't push back into argument, but stands its ground with grace. In your text cadence, avoid the cliff. Don't indoctrinate her into hour-long exchanges that die suddenly. End on a high note first. I'm jumping into something. Talk later. Then disappear into your mission. She'll feel a tug without resentment because you warned her. If she double texts, reply when you can without apologizing for living. Apologies are for errors, not for priorities. Your life is not an error. The subtext is always, I like you and I like me. I will not abandon me to prove I like you. That's security. Security is rare. Rarity is addictive. When intimacy deepens, stay consistent. Many men bait with presence, then switch to neglect once they feel safe. That's how obsession curdles into anxiety. You are different. Your reverse psychology is ethical. You don't withdraw to punish. You pause to breathe. You don't ghost. You schedule. You don't manipulate. You lead. Women memorize patterns. If your pattern is steady investment, small surprises, and the same man on Tuesday that you were on Saturday, she will imprint on that certainty. Her body will relax around your presence because your presence is predictable in its integrity. One more layer, the environment. Rooms carry messages. Meet in places that echo your identity, spaces with texture and story, a cafe with real wood and imperfect mugs, a wine bar with a vinyl player humming quietly, a walk under street lamps where conversation doesn't have to fight the room. The environment becomes a silent co-conspirator. It tells her, without saying a word, who you are, a man who chooses intention over noise. Reverse psychology in environment is selection, not seduction. You let the room do some of the talking so you can do more of the listening. If you feel an urge to over-explain your interest, translate it into action. Attraction is a body-level signal. Eye contact that lingers a heartbeat longer. A half smile when she surprises you. The courage to end the date before comfort turns to laziness. If the chemistry is strong and consent is clear, let your touch be precise and your words be few. I like this. Simple. Then you step back an inch. That inch is the electric space where obsession grows. She leans to close it because you didn't. Notice how often this comes back to space. Space to choose. Space to wonder. Space to pursue. Reverse psychology isn't reverse morality. It's not mind games. It's respect for the mechanics of desire. People chase what feels both valuable and free. You are valuable because you've built a life that makes you that way. You are free because you don't bind others to validate it. Put those together and you become the paradox that makes a woman's mind replay your presence like a favorite song. Strong, familiar, and never fully resolved. If you know a brother who needs to hear this, someone who's tired of performing for scraps of attention, send it to him today. Don't keep it to yourself. This is about raising a standard for how men show up, with power and grace, with restraint and warmth, with clarity and curiosity. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs men whose silence means something. Before we close, remember the ethical line that never moves. No manipulation, no control, no pressure. Consent is the center. Reverse psychology without ethics is poison. With ethics, it's gravity. You're not trying to hack her mind. You're inviting her deeper into her own freedom. And strangely, freedom is the thing that ties people together without knots. So, as you step into this week, practice 3 moves. First, choose a boundary and enforce it warmly. Second, create a curiosity gap. Reveal less, mean more. Third, invite with options and windows. Never cling to outcomes. Watch how the energy flips. Notice who pings you first. Notice who mirrors your calm. Notice how your phone becomes quieter, but your dates become richer. That's the signal you're becoming the man who doesn't chase attention. He attracts devotion. If what you've heard so far is shifting how you see yourself, stay with me until the end of your growth, because we're only cracking the surface here. There are levels beyond this. Deeper patterns, faster calibrations, the art of long-term magnetism without burnout. And if this hit something inside you, tell me what changed. I read every single message because I care about men who do the work. Subscribe if you're committed to that work, not for numbers, but for accountability. You and I building a standard that holds under pressure. Here's the final reframe I want to leave ringing in your head tonight. You're not competing for her attention, you're interviewing for alignment. You are not a lighthouse screaming light into the storm. You are the shoreline that remains when the storm passes. She will know the difference. When you move with the confidence of a man whose life doesn't pause for approval, you stop trying to convince and start becoming memorable. Memorability is the quiet cousin of obsession. It's the afterimage she can't shake when the room empties. It's the unhurried reply that makes her heart race more than any essay of interest. It's the steadiness that tells her, this is rare, this is different. Hold that frame. Guard your mornings. Choose your words. Offer your time like it matters. Because it does. Give permission instead of pressure. And walk away when respect disappears. Do this consistently, and you won't have to engineer her obsession. It will rise on its own, like heat from a flame that doesn't care who notices. It just burns.